He is the Prime Minister of the only Southeast Asian country that hasn't been colonized by any Western powers. He has pushed his ultra-nationalistic Thai fascist regime to pursue the establishment of a greater Thailand. He has balanced relations with Japan, France, and Britain to remain neutral. But at a crucial moment, a few days before Japan invades in December 1941, Phibun disappears. I'm Indy Neidell, and this is a World War II in real-time special episode on Phibun's Thailand. Field Marshal Plaek Phibunsongkhram, or Phibun to his friends, has been Prime Minister of Thailand and Siam since 1938. Thailand was officially known as Siam before 1939. Anyway, years before Phibun becomes Prime Minister, he studies military theory in France during the 1920s. He's also a member of the military wing of the People's Party. In 1932, that party launches a bloodless revolution and ends King Praja absolute monarchy. Siam becomes then a constitutional monarchy, though it remains an authoritarian government. Phibun himself rises through the ranks, becoming Minister of Defense in 1936. He does not hide his politics, writing that it is essential that discipline be maintained. To be quite blunt, one must employ the methods of dictatorship. The Siamese government is adopting a version of fascism inspired by the currently fashionable and successful fascist regimes in Italy and Germany. The Siamese government very much introduces its own version of fascism. They steal a lot of things directly from Mussolini and Hitler. Very impressed with the success of mass media propaganda, radio and cinema broadcasts are used to bring a new militant nationalism to hearts and minds. Movies like The Blood of Thai Soldiers and The Blood of Supan tell the Thai of their military exceptionalism and remind them of their territorial losses to Britain and France in the early 1900s. One of Phibun's close advisors is Luang Wichitwatakan, once called a pocket Goebbels and a fanatical admirer of Adolf Hitler. At one point, he calls the German Führer a divine person who fully merits the love and reverence of the whole of the German people, as well as the praises of the world in general. The fascist salute is introduced, and the Joram and UNR youth movements are modeled after the Hitler Jugend. Press is heavily censored, and radio broadcasts are put under national oversight, which it suggests heavy crackdowns on the Chinese community, whom he describes as Jews of the East. Then, in 1938, Phibun becomes Prime Minister. Within a year, he assumes the offices of the Commander-in-Chief of the Army, Defense Minister, Foreign Minister, and Minister of the Interior. He very much becomes the Führer of Thailand, only here he is called Phunam, Thai for leader. Through a series of 12 decrees, he resumes the fascistification of Thailand, introducing a new national anthem, promoting the use of a standardized Thai language, and adopting a xenophobic stance towards foreigners with a special intolerance for Catholicism. But the first decree officially ditches the country's name, as it reminds him of foreign influence. It is now to be called Thailand. That also signals that he wishes to unify ethnic Thai in a greater Thailand, not just the Siamese. Thailand, with a population of 14 million, including 11 million ethnic Thai, should, according to Wichit, also include the Lao, Shan, and Thai communities in China, as well as the Cambodians, whom he also counts as ethnic Thai. He thinks that this will bring the Thai population to 60 million people, though that is seriously optimistic. These decrees also are a sort of cultural revolution, promoting modernization over traditional culture. Dressing in international attire is encouraged. Eating with cutlery is encouraged as well. Phibun hopes to bring Thailand's prestige to a point where they are respected by the most powerful Western powers in the area, Great Britain and France. Phibun wants Thailand to compete with the European powers over cultural dominance in Southeast Asia. At the same time, he also fears them, so feeling that he needs an Asian, more like-minded ally, he increases his ties with Japan, both politically and culturally. Now, that doesn't mean that Japan and Thailand are becoming best pals. Phibun has good reason to mistrust Japan and Japan's territorial ambitions, but he also doesn't want to cut all ties with Britain and France. Despite his dislike for the imperial status quo in Southeast Asia, he is still very much part of that status quo. He grows a little closer to Japan when, in 1940, he sees an opportunity as France is invaded by Germany. France took some territories from Thailand in earlier wars, and Phibun wants them back. So his forces invade French Indochina. We covered the Franco-Thai War in the regular episodes. The war goes in Phibun's favor, but when France wins a tactical victory at the Battle of Koshang, Phibun wants to consolidate his gains rather than risk losing. Japan acts as a peace broker. Thailand did take some territories, but really wants to annex all of Cambodia. Hoping to persuade the Japanese of this, he covertly promises military access to Japan. The Japanese ultimately do broker a deal between Thailand and France, but they don't give Phibun what he wants, so he withdraws the offer. But it does give Japan the impression that he is somewhat in their pocket. That is not the case, though. As 1941 rolls on, tensions in the area start to rise. Phibun sees that if Japan chooses to attack Burma or Malaya, they would need to go through Thailand. Fearing a Japanese invasion, he appeals to the British to guarantee Thai sovereignty if Japan were to attack. See, he is not confident that Japan would win an actual war against Britain. Unwilling to be dragged into a conflict by getting too cozy with one side or the other, he chooses for Thailand to remain neutral. Sources suggest that the Japanese then basically tell Phibun that they are going through Thailand either way. The Thai government is split between a pro-Japanese and a pro-neutral group. Phibun meets Japanese attaché Hiroshi Tamura. Tamura quotes Phibun in his memorandum home, who reportedly says, "Should Japan start war against Britain, it would first have to capture Singapore. To do this, there is no other way but for it to pass through southern Thailand. So I've been thinking of averting my eyes from what happens south of Prachuap Khiri Khan. But I want you to avoid sending forces through the Central Plains because this would have its impact on Thailand's honor and dignity. Should you have to invade Burma, you will need to pass through Central Thailand. However, I would like you to postpone this until I have been able to get prepared for it. To try to pass through by forcing us will certainly disgrace me before the people of Thailand." But a few days later, Phibun has his representative to Britain convey the message that Thailand fears a Japanese invasion is expected any moment now. They once again urge Britain to guarantee Thailand's neutrality. Britain ends up doing this, with British Prime Minister Winston Churchill stating that they would safeguard Thailand's independence and that Britain would regard an attack on Thailand as an attack on Britain. And then, shortly after December 4th, Phibun disappears. Really, he disappears. He's still gone on the 7th when Japanese officials want to give him an ultimatum for Japanese forces free passage through Thailand. But he's nowhere near Bangkok. He's gone to Thailand's eastern border for reasons still clouded in mystery and ambiguity. Well, he makes his way back to Bangkok, but he misses the ultimatum deadline. The Japanese cross the border, and Thai troops resist with force. He arrives halfway through an emergency cabinet meeting. He calls a ceasefire and then discusses the 4 options that Japan has given him. They are: 1. An alliance with Japan. 2. Thailand's entry into the Tripartite Pact. 3. Cooperation with Japanese military operations. Or 4. Accepting Japan's aid in the mutual defense of Thailand. Now, all of these give Japan free passage through his country, and all of them promise Japanese aid in expanding Thailand's territory. He is not the least bit happy with the invasion, as he still doubts the Japanese potential of winning a war with Britain. So ultimately, he goes for the 3rd option, scrapping the clause that Japan would help with Thailand's territorial expansion plans, because that would suggest that Thailand wanted this situation to happen. Thailand will permit Japanese troops to pass through its territory, afford all convenience, and avoid hostilities on the condition that Japan respects the independence, sovereignty, and honor of Thailand. So, why did Phibun disappear at a crucial moment? Some suggest a simple inspection of Thailand's troops. Others suggest that he wanted his troops to resist Japan before giving in, to make it seem like he resisted but ultimately gave in to protect the country. Yet others suggest he wanted to see if Japan's war against Britain has any potential. We may likely never know. In the days after the invasion, with Pearl Harbor and the sinking of the British capital ships Repulse and Prince of Wales, he grows increasingly happy with the side he chose. On the 10th, he calls for the Thai to be friendly and cooperative with the Japanese. That evening, he invites over Japanese ambassador Tsubogami, who comes to Phibun's quarters armed with a prepared alliance treaty draft. The next morning, Phibun signs the draft. After a heated cabinet meeting, he acts as if he had no choice but to sign the agreement, omitting that it was him who had actually invited the ambassador to come and see him. Later that day, he addresses the Thai public, saying, "We must adapt ourselves to the world situation. It is wrong to row against the current. By adapting ourselves to the world situation, we can avoid the many dangers threatening our country." The official alliance is signed December 21st at the Wat Phra Kaew Buddhist Temple, the most sacred temple in the land, signaling Phibun's total commitment to the Japanese cause. Just over a month later, January 25th, 1942, Thailand declares war on Britain and the United States, but Phibun's hopes that his new alliance will help him create that greater Thailand quickly melt. His troops are not allowed to aid in the Japanese invasion of Burma because Japan doesn't want to give Burmese territory to Thailand. Sure, Phibun gets some previously lost territories, but now that the Japanese have all they need from Thailand, unrestricted military access and logistical support, helping Thailand become a big ultra-nationalistic empire in the region sounds like a bad idea to them. Furthermore, the Japanese link brings with it economic hardships as the Thai baht currency is devalued significantly. In reality, it's not really an equal partnership in the co-prosperity sphere. Japan is using Thailand to get what they need for their own empire. The United States refuses to declare war on Thailand because they view it as a Japanese puppet regime. This is rather ironic, since this would mean that the last East Asian country to go uncolonized by any Western power ultimately becomes a part of the Japanese Empire, the self-proclaimed liberators from European imperialism. If you missed the beginning of the Franco-Thai War in the regular episodes all those months ago, you can check that out right here. And join the Time Ghost Army at timeghost.tv or patreon.com. It is the army that makes all of our content possible. See you next time.